Hello and welcome to the first in a series of multiple, right now it's five, R tutorials to help, you the viewer learn R better. Again, these are the analog to Cornell Sports Analytics and BRSN Football Analytics in-person um, scripts. And these scripts are posted on GitHub, so in person we'll be reviewing them. And this is also for anybody who potentially wanted to check out um, how to learn R and how to better their skills in R. So we wanted to start with, so you see your R console, terminal, and things like that. You see your environment, your history, stuff like that, and then you have your files. So what we want to do before making a file is we want to set our working directory. So now with whatever device you have, you can go into files, create a new folder, whether it's in downloads, whether it's in documents, anything like that. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to help. There's a command on Mac, but this is easy for beginners. You're going to go to help at the top of your screen. You're going to go to set working directory. You're going to click on that and it should, I apologize, choose directory. You're going to have to click. And then you can go through any of your directories. So I'm just going to pick my downloads directory. Hopefully you have a specific directory in mind. Actually, I won't choose download. I'll choose learning R, which the original scripts are in, and to do this specific test script. So now that we're in this working directory, your files will have all the files in the folder, and you'll be able to create, using the top left, a new R script, right? It's untitled, it's not saved right now, but you do have your script and it will save in here. You can always refresh it after the fact. So let's just write something like hello world, even though it's not a function. You can also click Command Enter and you can run it. It says unknown symbol. I mean, if you run something like this, it just basically repeats hello world for you. What else you can do is, I have multiple colors. This was just a test. This is just making a variable X into the number 2. I have multiple colors. This will be apparent later. What you can do is you can go to help and you can go to global options, click the global options button, and it'll give you this. And you can go down to appearance, and then you can go to editor theme and choose almost any theme that you want. So my theme is vibrant ink. So you would click add. Oh, sorry. Not add. You would click apply, and it would apply to your R. But, it was already my default. I could do this. I could click apply. I know, sorry. Not dark mode jump scare, but I'm still on vibrant because I didn't click apply. So I'm still on the one I was before. So you would have to click apply for that to go through. So now that we're done with that, we are going to first learn how specifically to write a comment. And if you don't know what a comment is when you're coding, it's to basically tell whoever's reading your code what's going on in a function. So if we do this X, we set X to 2 again. We kind of highlight over this and we run X. We can see that that's 2 down here. Additionally, if you're going to comment, you just put a hashtag. Doesn't matter how many, they're all part of the comment. And so I wanted to comment make X equal to 2. And then that basically tells you that X is becoming equal to 2. And you're commenting basically what you're doing. So next, we will learn how to install packages. So in terms of R, you will need to install packages and then load the packages in to run certain commands. So we're gonna, for example, install, and this is one of the more important packages we'll be using, tidyverse. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna write install.packages and then in parentheses and quotation marks, tidyverse. So once you click this, I already have tidyverse installed, so it's asking me if I want to update loaded packages and then close out on R. I'm going to say no, and then it's going to install tidyverse. And once this runs, it's installed. So now that it's installed, we can run a function library tidyverse. So what this does is this loads in the library tidyverse. So these are all the different packages that are part of tidyverse. It is a very helpful package because it contains all these other smaller packages. So now that we have that run, we're going to do this for the other packages that we'll need for this specific tutorial. So the first one is going to be same, format install.packages, NFL read R. So what this does is this can help us load in the NFL play-by-play data that we'll be using later. So we're going to run library NFL read R now that we've installed it. So next, we're just going to install a bunch of packages at the same time. So we're going to install GG image. We're going to install packages GT, which is for tabling. And we're going to install packages GT extras. So these are just examples. We're not necessarily going to be using these packages now, but we are going to be using them at some future point. So, but you'll already have them installed. So all you have to do is you'll have to run the command library, say GG image, library GT. Oh, no quotes there. GT, and then library GT extras. Here we are. And then what else you can do is instead of clicking command enter, I think it's easiest to, you can just click run. And you can highlight and you can click run, or you can highlight and you can click command enter. So now that we have all the packages downloaded, we're going to play around a little bit with the data. So we're going to do this first. We're going to do future plan multisession. It just helps run some certain things faster. And then we're going to do PBP, play by play. And then we're going to use the arrow to filter in load PBP from the 2023 season. So this is in NFL Fast R or NFL Read R in this case. And what it does is it loads in the play-by-play data from the 2023 NFL season. And what you could do is if you don't understand something like load PBP and you have NFL Read R already on your installed on your R, on your R Studio and R, you can go to help and you can just type in load underscore PBP and it tells you almost everything you need to know about load PBP, load underscore PBP, that specific function. So now that we have our play-by-play data, we can use the head function to show us the first 6 rows. So what it has right now is play ID, game ID, and you can read the rest of these, home team, away team, that kind of stuff. And if we want to say, hey, I want to look at the first 10 rows, you can do head PBP and equals 10. And it gives you the first 10 rows. But now that we have PBP as a data frame specifically, we can actually look at it through our environment. And I like doing this a lot to look at the data I have. So you can open in your environment just by clicking it. And you can see there are a lot more columns than just ending at def team, defensive team. There are all of these variables, 362 variables, and you can scroll along here. You can click this arrow to go to the next 50, or you can click this arrow to go all the way to the end. So we'll be using a lot of these features. You don't have to be acquainted with all of them right now. But it's just cool. There are 362 different features specifically in this data set. And then we can also do the dimensions of the play-by-play data. You know, it gives us however many rows, 390,566 observations. So 390,566 different plays in the 2023 NFL season, 372 variables logged for almost every play. Obviously, some variables won't be logged on specific plays, but it's just a lot of data and it is extremely helpful. So the next operator we'll be learning is called the pipe operator. So what this does, you can do Command Shift M on your Mac. I think it might be Enter Shift M uh on your Windows if you have, or something like that, or you can just do this. You can either type these out. This might come up if you end up doing Command Shift M before you change a certain setting. I'm not entirely sure, depending on what version of RStudio you have, but these two are for all intents and purposes equivalent. So we're going to use this pipe operator to create a new variable called PBP selected. So we're going to take PBP, use the pipe operator, and then use the select function to get game ID, which we saw here. We're going to use it to get week, home team, away team, season type. So if the season type is regular or postseason, game date, so the date of the game, result, home score, and away score. And we'll be using these later. So now we have PBP selected, and there are only 9 variables because we selected those 9 variables from the data set. So we have 9 variables for all of these entries. So what we're going to do next is we are going to get each game individually. So we're going to take PBP selected, and then we're going to create PBP selected, and then use the unique function. So what the unique function does is, because all of these rows are identical, these are just individual plays, but we only took factors that dealt with the game itself. So we took all these factors that only dealt with the specific game, so they're all the same. So how do we get rid of the duplicates? We use the unique function. So we do PBP selected and use the unique function, and now we have one thing for each game. I apologize here. I think we go back to 2015 here. Sorry, just ran everything again. This should be okay. I don't think I ran the initial one. Again, a lot less data, only 49,000 different plays. So I stand corrected on that. But this is the data for the 2023-2024 season. So now that we have that, we are going to filter by only postseason games. And what we want to do is we want to use the functions we've learned to try and find what team won the Super Bowl. So we're going to filter season type equals post. Oh, sorry. PBP selected. Season type equals post. And then we have PBP select post. And these are all the postseason games from the 2023 season. The Packers blowout against the Cowboys, the Baltimore, Kansas City AFC Championship game, and all the other games from that playoff. So now that we have all our postseason games, we want to find play-by-play postseason winners. So using the play-by-play data set, we want to find the winners of the postseason games. So PBP selected post. And then we're going to use this mutate function. So what this mutate function is, you can run certain commands inside the mutate function to get new variables. So we're going to create a new variable called home winner, and it's if result is greater than 0. So we can see here, there's this result column, and you go to Cleveland, Houston, who won that game? Houston beat Cleveland, CJ Stroud playoff breakout game. You see the result is 31, and Houston is the home team. So if the result is greater than 1, it tells you the home team won. So you can see Dallas was home against Green Bay. The result is negative, right? The result column is negative, which means Green Bay won that game. So we're going to find who won by creating a column called home winner. So the home team won if the result is greater than 0. And what we're going to do now is we're going to create a variable called winning team and use the if else function. So if the home winner equals true, so actually we're going to run this first, and you can see what this does specifically, it gives you a true or a false. So if you don't set it equal to anything, this defaults as a true. So it's true if the result is greater than 0, a false if it's less than 0. We know there are no ties in the playoffs. So false, false, true, false, true, 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 right? The home team won all these games. It kind of matches with the positive and negative of the result. So now we can just do a comma inside of the mutate function to create another variable called winning team. So winning team equals if else, right? If home winner is true, excuse me, the winner is the home team column, right? The winner is the home team. If result is greater than 0, the winner is the home team. If it's not, if else, right? Elsewise, the winner is the away team. So we're going to run this function, right? We're going to run all of it, and we are going to get the winning team of each game. So Houston beat Cleveland, Green Bay beat Dallas. We're just checking through this. Kansas City beat Buffalo. And yeah, it should look good. That's how you can always use your own knowledge to check. Now that we have this, we are going to use the functions we know to find which team won the Super Bowl. So doing this specifically is not going to create a data frame, but instead it'll just output the winner. So PBP post winners, filter week equals 22, because it's the last week of the season, which is the 22nd week, which is the Super Bowl. You can see it right here. And then you want to select the winning team. When you run that, you get the winning team is Kansas City. All right, so now that we have that, we're going to move back to PBP selected to find point differential for each team. So we're going to create PBP. I like to separate it because we're onto a new thing. PBP selected point diff. And we're going to take PBP selected, and we are going to select game ID, week, home team, away team, season type, result, home score, and away score. So now that we have that, we have PBP selected point diff. We also want to continue to change this data frame. So we're just going to put another type operator. And we're going to filter season type equals regular season, right? Because we don't want the playoffs in point differential. And we're going to introduce a new function called group by. So what the group by function does is take each game from each home team. So say the home team is Washington. It's going to look at Washington's home games separately. It's going to look at New York's home games separately. It's going to look at Atlanta's home games separately. And we can do functions by grouping them all together, by grouping Washington's home games, by grouping New York's home games, by grouping Atlanta's home games. So we're going to group by home team, and we're going to do mutate. So now the mutate works under the group by. We're going to do home points for equals the sum of home score, right? The points for in total for the home team equals the sum of all their games at home, right? The home points for. We're going to do home points against. We're going to do sum away score. So all the points that the away team scores against the home team, that's going to be their points against. And then we always want to run the function ungroup, which gets rid of our groupings. If you have a group by, always put an ungroup after, because that can lead to some problems later. So now we're going to group by away team. We're going to do the same thing. So I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to reason through it. I'm going to say away points for and away points against. So away points for, so for any team that's away, right? The sum of their games away, it's going to be the sum of away score, and their points against is going to be the sum of their home score. So now when we run this, we get this right? We get new columns. So Washington's home points for in 2023 was 128. Their home points against was 272. Their away points for was 142. Their away points against was 217. So how are we going to take these values and turn them into total points for or points against? So what we're going to do is we're going to separate them into home and away team, and then R bind them. And you'll show, or I'll show what that means later. So we're going to use the reframe function, which is a new function. It kind of lets you do mutate inside of a select. So the team is going to equal the home team. So we're going to change the variable name for home team to the variable name team. We're going to change the name of home PF to PF. And we're going to change the name of home PA points against to PA. And then what we can do here is we can run the unique function, right? Because when we run this, you get all these different values for every single week, but some of the values are genuinely the same. Like Arizona has all these different values of the same thing, right? So we can run unique. And what that does is it gives us one for every team. So 32 teams, 32 points for and points against. This is at home. So now we have to do the same thing for away teams. So we're going to copy this. We're going to change this to 2, right? Make sure it's a different variable. Make sure to change it. And we're going to do team equals away team. PF equals away PF. And PA equals away PA. So we're going to run this. And these are the points for and points against on the road when they're not the home team. So now that we have this, we can create PBP point diff combined, right? And what we do is we use that rbind function I mentioned earlier. So rbind the first data frame, then the second data frame, and you get this. Sorry, that's point diff 2. You should get point diff com, which would give you 64 entries. So now we don't want this. We want to combine. So we have 2 different entries for Arizona. So we want to sum the points for home and for away, and we want to sum the points against for home and for away. So what we're going to do here is we're actually going to do the pipe operator again. We're going to go group by team, because the variable is team now. We're going to mutate. So we're going to create, well, we're going to change points for to be the sum points for, and we're going to change points against to be the sum of points against. And then we're going to run the unique function again. And we're going to get this. The total points for and points against for every team in the National Football League in 2023. Dallas scored the most points with 509. Baltimore led up the least points with 280. And Washington led up the most points with 518. Carolina and New England tied for the least with 236. And what we can also do is we can also create point differential, and we can make that equal to points for minus points against, and then open this and find our point differential. So Washington had the lowest point differential in 2023, and the highest point differential was Baltimore in 2023 with 203. So now that we have this play-by-play point differential combination, I'll show you how to save it as a CSV file, which we can load in later, and I'll show you how to do that, excuse me, in the next tutorial when we'll need it. So you do the data frame that you're turning into a CSV, and then you name the CSV. So I'm going to name this point differential.csv, and then we'll save this CSV, and the CSV is going to save to your working directory. And what we didn't do earlier, we didn't save the R script. But now that we're done with the R script, we can save it. So you can name this whatever you want. You can name it learning. Oh, sorry. It's not working right now. Learning R tutorial You can name it whatever you want. And when you save it, this goes away, means you saved it, means you can close out on it. Remember to always save your work before exiting out on it. That's very important. And once you refresh this, you have, I'll just go by modified, learning R tutorial 1. And that concludes the first tutorial. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll be back with tabling and graphing in the next tutorial. Thank you.